What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the #1 comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing Put a Ring on It. This is season 3, episode 7. This is Family Matters Part 2. But before I get started, for those who are new to my channel, I do reviews of reality shows. I do a detailed review. I may not hit every single scene, but I try to capture the most important parts in a detailed manner. And I may even pick up some details that you may have not seen. And as I told you, I am YouTube's #1 commenter. So what I do, everything I do is all about the comments. I don't ask for the likes. I don't ask for the subscriptions. If you rocking with your boy J Dub, that's just going to come with a natural flow. But I need those comments. This is why I do it, because it's the best part. And I don't only do it just because I'm addicted to the comments, but I also do it to build up our community over here. And what that community is the Dub fam. We get in the comments, we go back and forth, we debate, we laugh, we learn, we teach. We do a whole bunch of things. And the only thing I ask about you being in the comments is respect each other. It don't matter what you want to talk about with the people on the screen. That's just for entertainment. If you want to talk about Mr. You Heard Me, or you want to call my mentor, the great Dr. Nicole, Dr. Ponytail, that's all fine and good. Let's just respect each other, because this is the Dub fam. Because this is exactly one of the reasons why I've been drawn to comments, because also while I'm out in the YouTube world, in the YouTube streets, I've built a community, and I wanted a place to present that the same way. Because as you can see, on my videos, the likes will be okay, but the comments be off the chain. It'd be a whole hundreds and hundreds of comments. And I mean, if y'all already know me or my channel familiar, you think I'm funny, get down in those comments and you're going to find out who's funny. I'm telling you, there's some comedians in the Dub fam. So like I said, that is truly my motivation of doing this, because I have a platform of my own and we focus on the comments. And again, the Dub fam does not disappoint. I mean, they really get into it. So just to catch up real quick, for those who know, I've been, I guess, behind in schedule, been dealing with my real estate journey, even took a little R&R out in Chi-Town. I definitely enjoyed myself. I got to get back because that was my first time, so I didn't really feel like I had enough. And also, the Dub fam helped me out with different suggestions in food or places to go. I really didn't get out that much. I explored the city, and I even got down to the Chicago 360. That's where when you get up on the 94th floor of the building and you hold on and you tilt over. Guess what? Your boy J Dub turned into a chicken when I got up on that 94th floor. I was shaking. I could barely walk. I got to the window, but they was about to turn it. I said, nah, I'm good. You know, I couldn't do it, but I made it to the 94th floor. So if I had a chance to do it again, I would do it again, because, you know, nobody died, nobody fell out the window and all that kind of stuff. But being on that 94th floor is something else. But enough about that. I'm going to try to do my best to catch up on my behind reviews. It's Friday. I'm doing Put a Ring on It from last Friday. But I'm going to try to do my best to make it up again, because I want to give y'all the content, because there's a lot of people I'm thinking like, oh, I could take some time off. People like, where are your videos that I'm looking? So I want to provide that. So I wasted enough time. So again, this is a part 2 from Family Matters. And they leave us on cliffhangers. I don't know what production person thought that was a great idea. I mean, I'm thinking you would do that for like a particular moment, but now this is also like the norm for the show. They're pretty much leaving us to be continued, and I don't like that. But we see Otis. Otis had walked out he was having a disagreement with Charlie at a restaurant, because I guess I don't know if there was a date or not, but they had a meeting, I guess, about their relationship. And, you know, Otis comes back, and I guess he wants to talk it out with Charlie, and he's mumbling, and he's not really saying much. And this is a part of where you see another side of Otis. And I would say this part is a manipulative side, because he normally is so boisterous. You can see he has an aggressive tone. It's okay to say because that's how I feel. I think he puts the aggression onto Charlie when he's feeling some type of way, but when he's remorseful or he's done something that's not in favor of what he's supposed to be doing, he gets his hanging his head low and you can't barely understand what he's saying and all that. He's talking like Shaquille O'Neal and all that. Ain't nobody going for it, and neither is Charlie. And I would say I'm glad. I guess she knows him after 3 years. She knows this how he gets because he's nothing like that. And Charlie had mentioned that I guess the process of putting a ring on it really is exposing Otis for the person that he really is. And I'm glad she's kind of seeing it that way because I'm thinking more so she would be falling for him going back in the kitchen and grabbing an onion and making these tears up while he at the table or whatever. But she's really getting a real view of Otis and knowing that he's running game because I mean this is all about him being so restrictive with her on her dates, but he is contacting Milan in his DMs. So Otis is running game. So we go to where we go. Let's take it over to the House of Horrors. And where we at in the House of Horrors? That's Kenneth and Shorty's house. And Shorty's not there, but Kenneth he's in what I would say Kenneth is doing, I guess what is required from the great doctor and coach. He's saying like get with your family dynamic and see where your relationship really is. So Kenneth is having his brother over and he's I guess fixing a couple of steaks for them. And they sit down and, and Mr. You Heard Me or the lip pucker and the squint eyes get to talking. And Ken pretty much tells his brother that Shorty and him, they really not in a good place. And Ken's brother he brings up that he really doesn't appreciate how Shorty contacts their mother when her and Ken are having trouble. And I really kind of get that at that point. Because even Ken mentioned like, I'm 35 years old, so what my mother going to do? Beat me if I ain't acting right or whatever? I really think unless there's some type of emergency, no one's family member should be involved in your relationship unless you require some type of mentorship. Because like Ken's brother said, like, Shorty can talk all this crazy stuff about Ken, probably which is all true, but at the same time, that's their family. No matter what Ken does Shorty expect his mother to go against him? No matter what he did, unless he did something, crazy like had hit her or something like that. But as far as them having an argument, what is that doing but stressing his mother out? So I get totally what Ken's brother is saying. So Ken, he's saying like, as far as the relationship with Shorty, he's pretty much willing to do whatever it takes to make the necessary adjustments to get right. But Shorty is not taking any kind of responsibility for, I guess, the flaws she's showing into the relationship. And Ken's brother pretty much broke it down saying like, well, it's more so like a control thing. Shorty wants everything from you, but she's not even willing to compromise in any way in a relationship. She's not even accountable. So Ken is like, yeah, that's something to think about. So we go, we switch over We switch over to the next Airbnb, and we see delusional Shay and undershirtless Alfonso. Alfonso always got some type of shirt where you can see him sweating through, or his man boobs are hanging, or whatever, or he just had him out exposed. I just thinking like, my man, 45 years old or whatever. That's an era where you required to come outside with some type of undershirt. But okay, it's an old school thing. And Shay pretty much says she's received this great advice from her mom and aunt. And at this point, she feels like she can coach Alfonso, I guess, in the direction that relationship needs to go. And I'm like, come on now, is that just because they gave you some advice, you think you can apply that and change Alfonso's thinking just from a conversation? Like I said, that's why I call her a delusional Shay. So Shay sits down like she wants to have, I guess, a civilized conversation or what have you with Alfonso, and immediately she demonstrates the lack of proper communication that she has. I mean, Shay, when she get to talking in her hand, Shay's sitting like 6 inches away from Alfonso, and her hands doing all like this, and I'm like, what's going on? And then like every word you hear, she's like she has a tear in her voice, and that's pretty irritating. Like, if you're gonna cry, go ahead and cry, but I don't want to listen to no whiny, irritating voice while you got your hands all up in my face and like that. Nah, I mean, how can we communicate like that? But Fonzo seems to be like an easygoing guy or whatever, but he does what he does. He laughs, and we learn to hear it out his mouth that it is a defense mechanism. And he's saying, like, so to prevent him from getting irritated or angry, he just laughs it off. He doesn't want to turn into Alfonso the Incredible Hulk. So Shay is like, she's right about one thing about Fonzo, that he doesn't take responsibility for anything going on wrong in a relationship. He always deflects, and he always like, it's my mom, or it's my baby mama, or it's never his fault. It's nothing he's done or hasn't done to cause the situation that's going on. And I just can't help to think that he's really shielding his family from Shay because, like, he's hiding her. He's not letting her in the dynamic. He's probably telling them another story about Shay. But, I mean, they've been, I guess, dealing with each other for 3 years. But at this point, you're like, she never met your mother, on purpose. That's really kind of weird. And I would just say it just doesn't help, though, at the same time, that Shay gets into this mindset when she's saying, like, well, this is the last chance. Like, that is, like, really a threat. To me, that's more so for Shay trying to pull some power back from Alfonso, because, I mean, if you're going to leave or really let him know instead of making threats like, oh, well, you say that or you can't get right. This is going to be the last time we're going to do this. Most people don't respond well to that because it's a threat. But anyway, let's go to little Shorty. She gets a visit from her mom, and she said she kicked Ken out the apartment because she didn't want him around. He did want to stay or whatever. And I'm not sure what ethnicity, let me slow it down, ethnicity that they are. But Shorty and her mother look just alike, but her mother's like taller. But you can tell she's not from here. She's from another country. And her mom pretty much tells her what Shorty already knows. Like, Kenneth hasn't gotten himself together in 3 years, and it's been a time where, like, maybe a year ago, that Shorty gave, I mean, it sounded like a kid. Shorty gave Kenneth some homework to do to straighten out his credit, and I guess she had some issues she had to take care of, and she took care of those issues, and that's in order to buy a home. But Kenneth did nothing. Probably it's hard to straighten up your finances when you don't have a steady income coming in. But I mean, like, at this point, what does Shorty need to hear? Because she says it herself that Ken is not marriage material. So why are you seeking to turn him to a husband? You can't do that. He has to be ready or prepare himself already. But yeah, that really confuses me, because, I mean, Shorty isn't looking for answers. She comes right out her mouth and said, Kenneth doesn't have the ability to maintain a successful marriage. So what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time? He's not the man for you. He's not ready. He's not stable in any kind of way, as we see. So let's just move on. But okay. So Fonzo, he got a much needed house call from the great Dr. Nicole. And Dr. Cole is trying to address the fact that Shay hasn't been introduced to his family. And, she recognized that is a problem. And Fonzo saying, like, it will really be like a huge adjustment for him to do something like that, because he said we are not accustomed to change. And, I mean, at first it was his mother, and now is it his baby mother? Is it him? It's all of that we. So that means he's included in the process where he's not comfortable with bringing Shay into their dynamic. So does Shay even know that? I don't know, but it's definitely something there. And in the conversation, Fonzo he really reveals something that I thought about, but it didn't say. Dr. Nicole kind of brought up like what's going on with the relationship, like with your son's mother or whatever. How long have y'all been in a relationship? And he's like, if I could say, but he said that before to Shay, which was alarming. But pretty much he's saying about 4 years. But he's pretty much saying his baby mother don't know that they've officially broken up. And he hasn't had that conversation with her. So, like, she believes that y'all still together or y'all working things out or you just dealing with Shay on the side. I don't know. It's like a really a type of messy situation. But that's why the great Dr. Nicole is at the house. She got to make some breakthroughs. And she got to Fonzo or whatever. She pretty much said, you're able to, you have to be able to let your child's mother know that, hey, even though you're not my girlfriend, you're really an important person, when we were together, when you had our son. But because I'm with Shay now, that doesn't mean you're not still an important person. And like a 22-year-old, Fonzo like, yeah, that's player. Like Dr. Cole like, no, that's not player. That's what being a man is. And that kind of hit home. Like when that's not hit home, like I'm like, my mind blew up thinking like the great Dr. Nicole got to sit down and tell a 45-year-old man how to be a man, how to handle his exes and all of that, and that's like an aha moment to him. It made more sense for Alfonso to sneak and go on vacation with his mother and his baby mother and his child without telling Shay, or like being with Shay for over 3 years but never bringing her in the house to meet his mother. So Dr. Nicole got to teach Alfonso with the big chains and the Maybach and all that how to be a man, because he don't know what that looks like. I'm like, it's something wrong. It's something missing. There's something really missing here. But I just shook my head at it because I couldn't believe it. So I said Shay. So Shorty went on another date with her dude Tavi, and Shorty kind of hit Tavi with like all these questions concerning the future. It was like, rapid questions like, how do you feel about marriage? And what do you want to do in the future? Why are you single? And all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it came off kind of interviewee, if you will. But Shorty is like praising Tavi, saying like, hey, all his answers are matching up of what my mom said, what should be included, I guess, in a man who's ready for marriage. And I get a feeling that, I can see that Shorty romanticized like all her dates. Like, Hollywood was the man she's always been waiting for, prayerful man, attentive and all this stuff. Like everybody is the one, but she won't pursue that, or she's going to stick with Ken, who is exactly what she doesn't want. So it kind of gives off like a self-sabotage thing, like where she knows she wants or deserves better, but she's not willing to do anything about it. And in a sense, she may even just like the dynamic that her and Kenneth have, even though it's super toxic. And so we get to a scene where all the ladies are meeting up. I guess it's girls' night out or whatever, and they're meeting at a restaurant. And it's Shay, Charlie, who am I forgetting? Shay, Charlie, and I don't know. Why I forget the third person. Just say all the ladies got together. My mind just went in Shorty. Okay, I forget little Shorty, and Shay is pretty much the moderator of conversation. You know how production gets everybody to do so, and she wants to know like how's it going. I guess throughout the process or whatever. And Shay, who did she ask first? She asked Charlie, and Charlie was saying that I guess they've had some kind of breakthrough with Otis has been more vulnerable of, I guess, what's going on in their relationship and everything. And she realized that he apologized about how he's behaving. However, it's more so it's not something that is actually genuine. It's more so that he is seeking revenge because Otis is still bothered by the fact that Charlie brought flowers home from her first date, even though he threw them away, even though he refused her a fresh piece of salmon and she had to eat leftovers or what have you. But it's really like a problem. And she knows how truly petty Otis is in the situation. So it's just something out to look for. And I'm sure Charlie at this point knows Otis. And I said before in our last review, like, Charlie is just as toxic as Otis anyway. They're both petty ways, the tit for tat kind of thing going on. So we get to Shorty. And Shorty pretty much says that that her and Ken are not even close to getting married. That she did say they have like a real issue where, like, I guess they doing all the fighting and going back and forth where they're viewing each other as enemies. So until that gets solved, that's always going to be a problem. And as far as Shay, her and Alfonso, she's saying that they're pretty much at a standstill because he really doesn't manage his relationships with the important women in his life, which is his mom and his baby mom and all that kind of stuff. So until he gets that right, they can't be together because him not handling that spills into every facet of the relationship. So she won't be able to do it. So I mean, like when I just really listened and looked at the ladies talking and getting together, and from the outside looking in, you would think like, oh, these are some very introspective ladies. Like they're really aware of what's going on. They know what they need to do and all of that. But we all know that none of these couples should really be together. So it's like it's all talk. They may know, but they won't apply what they already know about the relationship. So at this point, it's group therapy time with the great Dr. Nicole. And Shorty and Ken, they start out with the group, and they talk about them going on a date because that was their assignment. They had to go on a date and kind of try to mend things or whatever. And Shorty said the date didn't go well because there was a whole lot of tension going on. And Shorty said, like, pretty much it was no way to connect because, again, it was a lot of tension. And Ken said he was just trying to keep things lighthearted in the fact that he wanted to focus on what brought them together initially, and he wanted to try to stay positive, but Shorty was super negative about it. And the great Dr. Nicole, she pretty much said, like, the way they handle each other when there's conflict is very telling with the state of their relationship, because it's very important that even though you may have conflict, because then what couple doesn't have conflict or some type of issues going up, you are supposed to operate in a manner where it's manageable to be just not have the tension overwhelm you. So we know they don't possess that quality in their relationship. And Dr. Nicole also mentioned that, like, I guess within that date when y'all were just supposed to be talking things out or getting things, something else has happened, but we're going to, I guess, touch that or visit that later. I'm like, when? I mean, y'all know the great Dr. Nicole, that's my mentor. That's the best doctor on TV to me. But she keep giving them rain checks on when they're supposed to have a house call, because they need one 911 ASAP, emergency, all that. She needs to get over to the house and get to the bottom of it and have some private conversations, because it's just getting worse and worse, especially with all the things that Kenneth is doing. So we go to Shay, and she's saying that as far as Fonzo, her family, they really enjoy Alfonso. They call him Fonzo, and he's just this wonderful guy. But really, they said regardless if we like him or not, it has to really be a no for the relationship because Fonzo is not treating her in the manner that she needs to be. He's not putting enough in. And she realizes that she cannot change Fonzo. So, as far as the great Dr. Nicole has said, she was saying that because they were together, when they were first broken up and got back together, it is, they've never had a new understanding of what's going on with the new relationship. So yeah, it's like, oh, we were apart, we got back together, and now we're coming together with no new understanding. So they're going to fall right back into the same pattern. So that just doesn't work at all. So so we go to Otis, and Otis said like he met with his father, and he pretty much advised Otis that like he needs to focus on listening and everything. And Otis says that he can do that and make a change, I guess, to become a wonderful listener all out of the blue just because his father told him. So Dr. Nicole wants like Otis to go deeper about like him having these emotional feelings because Otis saying that it's really it's really, what do you call it? It's really brand new to him that him having feelings. He's just not used to dealing with them at all. And they really need to tap into that because Otis gets all, demure and he just holds his head down and starts mumbling because he's not used to expressing himself. So the great Dr. Nicole, she goes over with Shorty about Shorty's date. And Shorty pretty much saying when she talks to Tavi, it's really easy for her to be engaging because like he's very interesting and he enjoys talking, and that's just something that she really looks for in a partner. And Dr. Nicole asked Ken, like, well, what do you think of that, Mr. Kenny? Like, well, everything is fine or whatever. I don't feel it in no kind of way. But in his confessional, Mr. You Heard Me was very upset and pretty much saying, like, he going to let Shorty do her yonder dig and he ain't really dealing with it or whatever, but the case may be. But what I did like about what Ken told Dr. Nicole that, like, hey, pretty much she making all these wonderful comments about Tavi or whatever. That's what she said about me. I was that, this, and then some, and brought all of it. And that's a great point that you make, because I said before, Shorty kind of romanticizes her dates and everything that she's looking for, and I don't believe anything different when she met Kenneth that he was all this and all that. So Dr. Nicole asked Charlie about would she be going back on a date with Odell Beckham Jr. And Charlie went to the description of like, oh, this guy's very fit. He was very handsome and all that. Seemed like she was trying to push Otis' button for real, but Otis is saying, you can tell he's bothered, but he's saying he's just listening. And she pretty much said, well, as far as going on another date with Odell Beckham Jr., she had some type of thought about it first, but now she wants to change her mind. And now we're at another cliffhanger. Why do they keep doing this? Why do they think we enjoy that? We're not anticipating saying, oh, I wonder if Charlie's going to go on another date with Odell Beckham Jr. No, we just want to see the show end and start another show. But pretty much that was it. And the show was pretty much all right. It was better than I expected to be. But I wish they really stopped dealing with these cliffhanger type scenarios. So, hey, get down in the comments. Tell me what y'all thought. Something I missed. Something you want to add. And as I said, I'm going to do my best to make up some of the videos that I missed out on. I will be picking up Ready to Love DC. I believe it's coming on Saturday. Even though I got a ton of other videos to do, let me put it on the plate and make it happen and try to balance everything out. So, as I tell y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate it, and I really mean it.